Everyone, I'm Jennifer Watson. I'm with Publisher Spotlight, and I'm really excited today to introduce you to Daniel Gray Barnett. He's the illustrator for Pocket Chaotic. Nope, that way. And I'm really excited to talk with him and see what his inspirations are and everything. So, Daniel, welcome. Thank you.
Hi, hey Jennifer, thanks for having me.
So, tell me about yourself, or tell the world about yourself.
Okay, yeah. So I am a children's book illustrator and author. I've been an illustrator for longer than that. I also do like commercial illustration, so I've probably been an illustrator for maybe going on 10 years. But the last 3 or 4 years, I've ventured into children's book land. Um, Yeah, before that, I've had a few career changes. So I wasn't always an illustrator. I actually studied medical science at college and thought I was going to be a doctor. So that was the original plan until I decided it wasn't for me and I wanted to do something creative. And I ended up falling into illustration and realizing that was what I should be doing. And yeah, I haven't really looked back. So
That's
yeah.
awesome. Not very many people can fall into the illustration process. So, I guess then you have always drawn or been an artist?
I've always done art at school, and that was my favorite subject. But I guess when I left school, I didn't really know what I could do with it, other than be an artist or an art teacher. So it wasn't a career I thought I could pursue. I didn't know what the opportunities were, and so it took me like a bit of time, probably like a good 10 years, until I realized that illustration was actually like a viable career and people get paid to do drawings. And yeah, that sounded perfect to me. So yeah, the more I found out about it, the more I realized it was what I probably should have done all along. But yeah, better late than never. It's good. I love it.
Yeah, awesome. Well, we're really excited for your contributions to the children's book world.
Thanks.
um, so tell me, what is your illustration process?
Yeah. I usually will let it sit with me for like a week, and maybe over that time, I like to do, I think they're called mind maps, or I'll write down like words and thoughts that come to me as I read the book, or feelings, and try and think of what images, yeah, come to mind when I think about those sort of things and concepts. And yeah, I draw it all on a page, or write it down, and just have lists of words, and I'll end up picking the ones that stand out the most, the ones I think might communicate the best visually what we're trying to say with the book. Yeah, so once I've done that, we can start, working up sketches and storyboards, and yeah, and once that's all finalized, I can get into the ink in the fun part. So yeah, that's the rough sort of process. I mostly do my roughs on the computer, so I use a Wacom and just do that digitally or on the iPad, just to save time, I guess. I think I just find it easier to get into it without overthinking if I'm doing it digitally. Whereas when I'm working with my inks, I like to use acrylic ink and black ink and pencil. I might start really getting into thinking what colors I'm going to use, and or being too precious about how I'm going to put it on the page. So yeah, those sketches are digital, and then yeah, all my um, finished art is at the moment. Yeah, I'm using a lot of colored inks and black ink for the line work, and pencils. Anything I can make textures with. I do. I guess I work with like a printmaking sort of approach. So I tend to do everything separately and then scan it all into the computer, where I put it all together. So yeah.
Yeah, I always find all of those tools just completely fascinating. When you received the manuscript for Pocket Chaotic, what were your initial reactions for that manuscript?
Yeah. Just mostly that it was fun. It was just a really fun and funny book, and I love that it's about kangaroos because I'm Australian, so it's one of our national animals. Um, yeah, it was just a really sweet, funny book about the relationship between a child and their parent, and how that can clash. And yeah, I just really loved it. There was a lot of room to have fun with the book and getting into the details of the drawings and trying to communicate that emotion of the main character. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I do think it's a very fun book as well. The colors of the book, they're just like really bright and marvelous. I mean, they're unique in a lot
Thanks.
of the picture book world, I think. So how did you come up with that color palette?
Yeah, um that's a good question. I was inspired a lot by well, I am inspired a lot by like mid-century illustration, and in particular, um, one of my favorites, you could probably see behind me, is like Madeline by Ludwig Bemelmans. And
Hmm.
so I really love in his work in that book, he's uses like quite a limited color palette, black and white, and this really nice yellow, and he juxtaposes that with some full color illustrations, but a lot of it's the limited palette. And I tend to use limited color palettes in quite a bit of my work. And I thought that would be a really good technique for this book, because the story's got the world outside um, the main character's mother's pouch, and it's the world inside the pouch. And I thought using that limited color palette would be a really good idea to contrast the two worlds. So while he's inside his mother's pouch, we used this really bright Pantone yellow, and that sort of represents the kangaroos. So we printed them in that spot color, that Pantone color, and then the world outside was more in full color. But yeah, I thought it was a really nice technique to put the focus on the main character and how he saw the world with that color. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. That's great. Now, how many children's books have you illustrated?
I've done 4 at the moment, and working on 2 or 3 more this year. So yeah, it's
What
busy.
project would you say you're especially proud of?
Um, I mean, all of them. My first book, probably the most, just because it was it wasn't really a planned thing. That was my first entry into the children's book world, and yeah, I wasn't really even trying to get into kids' books. It was a happy accident, and it turned out to be such a really good success. And that's so this one behind me, you can see, called Grandma Z.
Yeah.
That was a story that I really just played around with for fun. I did these illustrations of a couple of characters to enter into the Bologna illustration exhibition, and I just thought, oh, I'll just do it for some fun and see what happens. I'd never done a kids book before, or even thought it was a part of my career that I would really get into. And yeah, I guess the exercise was trying to turn these 5 illustrations I had to do into some sort of narrative or story. I posted it on social media, and that was it. I didn't hear anything back about it, so I didn't get into the exhibition. But then my publisher for that book saw them on Instagram and contacted me, and she said, what are you doing with these illustrations? Is there a book behind it or a story, or do you want to do one? And I was like, well, yeah, okay, let's do one. And I always loved creative writing at school as well as doing art, so it was kind of a really good chance to do both of those things. It just went really well. I couldn't have been happier with how that book went, and that sort of has led to other books. And now it looks like kids' books is something I'm going to be doing for a while, I hope.
So
Yeah.
what made you choose kids' books?
Um, I don't know. Actually, that's a good question. I think just because they're more fun and more honest in a way. Kids can be really open and brutal with their criticism, so you know if it's going to work or not with kids. But um, yeah, there's something really authentic in being able to do a kids book and connect with kids through a story and illustrations. And I've always loved picture books, even as an adult. So it felt like the right, a right sort of thing to work in. Yeah, and to be able to tell stories that way. Yeah.
What would have been your very favorite picture book growing up? Do you have one of those? I just like to ask those
Uh,
kinds of
I
questions.
do have a couple. Yep. I mean, Where the Wild Things Are is always a favorite. Everyone loves that book. Yeah, I think Madeline would be one of my favorites. And I've got a collection of Tommy Ungara books, so like the Three Robbers is probably one of my favorites as well. Yeah, I love his
That's
work.
awesome. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Well, so I did ask if you wanted to do a quick demo. Do you want to do that for us?
Oh yeah, I could do a quick demo if you like. I've also got some like spreads from the book if you want me to show you that, like the
Yeah,
process
that would
of
be
how
great.
that works. Yeah, just grab the book and I'll show you. So not to be a spoiler, so this is one of the last spreads in the book, and the main character is like happy and asleep in his bed in his new bedroom. So that's the finished product. But the way I work is, so I do everything separately. So I do all my black line work.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And then the color was separate as well. So I do my color. That's all colored like acrylic ink and pencil. I do like some textures. I don't know if you can see that.
Oh,
That's a
wow, that's
pencil
awesome.
texture. Yeah, so it all gets scanned in separately and then squashed together on the computer. And yeah, to give you your finished image. So I wish I could do it that perfect, like just in one illustration, but I don't know. I'm too scared to do that. maybe one day, but yeah, I don't think I'm there yet. I think I still like to do it a bit separate. Just gives me a bit of room for error.
Yeah, I'm not
For
sure that
it to be
anybody
clicking.
would be able to do that right from the beginning. I think
No,
everybody has to have a process of some kind.
yeah.
Is there anything else that you wanted to tell the world? Anything about yourself or about your art?
I am a triplet, so yeah,
Wow, that's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, so and that was just a natural happy accident as well. Um yeah, so I've got two brothers and two sisters, and then I've got two older sisters from my dad's first marriage as well. So lots of siblings. But yeah, a triplet. So you can say you've met a triplet now.
So you're the others in your triplet? I don't know. Are they boys
Yep.
or girls?
A boy and a girl. Yep,
Awesome.
so 2 boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is such a fun little fact about you. I love that.
Yeah.
Perfect.